This way too early NFL win totals edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com and use promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. We're also brought to you by the Golf Gambling Podcast Tailor-Made Driver Giveaway. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/driver to enter today before the big drawing on April 8th. We're also brought to you by Baseball Money is Fake, our fantasy baseball podcast. Join Blake and Ryan 3 times a week and get all the player breakdowns data you need to dominate.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to FGPN. Let it ride.
Long, Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Ryan, Real Def Kramer. I gotta be honest, old man, 24 hours into this thumping, and my old man brain is wondering when it's gonna stop.
We are coming to you live from the beautiful Stadium Swim. Shout out to Circa, Circa Sports, Derek Stevens, of course, giving us awesome hospitality. Been watching our Masters bets, sweating it out, figuratively and literally all day. And now we thought it'd be, we're in the cabana hanging out. Let's knock out our way too early NFL win totals podcast, AKA these are just our first instincts. Yeah. Just instant reaction, no data, no numbers,
gut reactions.
We're going to have all NFL all summer long. We will be doing our individual team previews, picking every 32 NFL teams against the spread for the number, giving out our favorite player props. We got you covered, but why not kick things off and just do a little early look at the lines. The NFL win totals are out. Why not hop in, get on them? Let's get this party started, Ryan.
And Sean, since my Masters bets are looking shit with the exception of John Rahm, figured I'd just be looking good. Well, feel sexy. I got to feel sexy around
Charles Schwartzel's got him right where he wants them. That 500 to 1. I told my wife if he hits, I'll buy her a new car. Poor thing has no idea. He has no chance of winning. So I just imagine my wife like going to masters.com being like, all right, who's this guy? Maybe he has a shot. But yeah, a couple of my outrights, they're hanging around. We'll see. We're going to do a Masters update show tomorrow, see where we're at, see if we want to get down on any more bets. But before we get to the NFL win totals, again, shout out to ShadyRays.com. We're rocking our Shady Rays poolside here at the Circa. Love these Shady Rays. They're polarized. They're great. Super comfortable sunglasses, very affordable, and look good, feel good. Best part is if you lose them, break them, even on day one, they will send you a new pair, no questions asked. And I love that, no questions asked. You could just, it's Vegas. Some wild things could happen to your sunglasses. You don't have to answer any questions. Shady Rays, if you break your sunglasses doing God knows what, all you got to do is go to shadyrays.com, use the promo code SGPN, 50% off. That's crazy. For 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try out for yourself the sunglasses. Rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. YouTube.com/sports gambling podcast. Chat is live for the way too early NFL win totals. Kramer, let's go.
Think anyone ever writes in the comment on what happened to their Shady Rays? Having some ass for lunch. It's a Vegas tradition like none other for Colby. All right. So I ordered the win totals from. I did not order them. Let me order them right now, Sean. We're gonna go least to most, bottom to the top, and I also included some data, Sean. So we'll be talking about record last year. Arizona Cardinals up first, picking third, 4-13 last year. 3-year average of 7.7. 5.5 is the win total. Slight juice to the over, +110, -130 on the under. My gut reaction here is you'd be out of your fucking mind to take the over, but their division kind of sucks, and maybe not having Kyler for a bit will be a positive.
Yeah, call me crazy, but I think a coaching change, I think the team rallied around a quarterback not named Kyler Murray, a yet to be determined quarterback. We'll see who they end up starting, but Arizona Cardinals seem like that perfect team that fucks up a great draft pick by being better than people thought they would. They seem to me possibly like this year's Seattle Seahawks. Again, it's early, but I think in that division, the Rams might be down. I think Seattle might go down after surprising some people. So I'm actually going to take a lean on the
I will
egg. Again, we're not a tower in Italy. I'm going to Arizona over 5.5.
Right,
and you're getting the plus juice there.
I'll join you.
All right.
Houston Texans 3-13-1 last year. Who can forget that tie on opening day?
Oh my God. Cost me my round robin. Well, I still cashed pretty nice because I hit 49ers. I hit the Steelers miraculously. And then the Texans, the one that seemed like a lock, they end up tying in overtime after they were up, 17 points, 13 points?
5.5.
Bastards.
5.5 is their win total as well. They've won 10 games over the last 3 years. Not exactly a positive trend. -110 each way. I mean, they're certainly drafting a rookie. They're probably going to end up with Stroud or Young. Unclear if they have some interesting pieces at receiver. We like Dameon Pierce. Maybe this team can rally a little bit. But I felt the same thing last year, and last year we got that performance from the Texans, and they still only won 3 games. Yeah. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be any worse than the rookie in their first year. I'll take under here. Unfortunately for our Texans, I'm on the under.
Moonoff in the chat, alleged Houston Texans fan. You would have no idea, but I'm with you, Kramer. I think I'm going to take the under here at 5.5. I know their division's down, so that makes it. You can talk yourself into it, but again, complete reset at the head coaching position, aka just the coach, not really a position. A complete reset at the quarterback as well. Like this team had no momentum coming into this season, and they even got that win at the end of the season, which they probably should have tried to lose. So I think in some ways that you could make a case that they were lucky to be 3-13-1, considering how bad they played. So I'm with you. I'm going under here.
Colts against the South divisions, just tremendous this year with some of their win totals. Colts, of course, 4-12-1 last year. They've that was a down year for them, though, for sure. Frank Reich obviously gone. Shane Steichen in. The parallels are very stark. 6.5 is the win total this year. -140 to the over, +115 to the under. Again, they're going to be starting a rookie, right? Yeah. Is this Lamar Jackson insurance? Is that why this number is?
I mean, this is the thing. I was thinking I was going to like the over on the Colts, but I didn't think it was going to open at 6.5, -140. I think right now I would go under 6.5, and I do think this is Lamar Jackson insurance. That being said, I'm going to take the under 6.5 because assuming they start a rookie quarterback,
like Will Levis,
the win total at 6.5.
Will Levis isn't winning 7 games.
Especially if you're getting +115 the other way.
One of the Eagles coordinators is not going to be successful.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be Shane's. I do think Shane Steichen's a good play caller, and I think he might end up being a good head coach. But you're starting a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, by all accounts, the chat has a lot of good ideas. One, including invite the chick in the green pants, ask her about some win totals there. Others are encouraging us to go shirtless, show off the guns for the fans. That might crash the stream if we have too many.
Yeah, we actually contractually obligated to stay shirted.
And in general, the crowd seems to, be enjoying the background talent available here.
All right, very good. Yeah, I mean, earlier I was wearing the green jacket, Sean, and our neighbors poked. We have like an adjoining door between our cabana neighbors. Poked their heads in and thought I was a bathroom attendant.
Can I have a mint, sir?
Yeah,
why is there a male bathroom attendant in the women's bathroom?
Yeah, they were hanging out the whole day, and yet they still thought there was a bathroom. Pretty interesting stuff. There will be some I do think we have, based on today, we have realized we need a party hat in the store, so we'll be working on that.
Yes.
All right, Bucs 8-9 last year. No point in looking at their previous wins after that. Tom Brady's no longer playing. 6.5 is the total. 110 each way. Part of me thinks, I'm intrigued to see Kyle Trask. Maybe it's Baker Mayfield. The division's going to be pretty down. I know there's some dead cap money problems with the Bucs, and maybe they just have a relatively low ceiling. But that division could be shitty, and I think people are de facto like, oh, I guess I'm betting the Panthers this year. The Bucs might have a lot of vets who are trying hard. And
yeah, I kind of like Tampa Bay here at this low number. Again, Todd Bowles isn't a guy that.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFC South? Not kidding.
I mean, Derek Carr, but if Kyle Trask comes out and plays like okay, they still have Mike Evans, they still have Chris Godwin. They have Rashad White.
Baker Mayfield.
Their offensive line is healthy.
Baker Mayfield seeing that's all between him and a starting job is a guy named Kyle Trask.
I think there's a lot of scenarios where the Bucs get to 7 games, and it doesn't seem like they're dead set on blowing it up and completely doing the rebuild.
Bruce Arians is still advising.
They're pot committed on some of the free agency, some of their contracts as well. So I'm going Tampa Bay over 6.5.
Yeah, I'll join you. All right, staying in that division, Falcons 7-10 last year. Arthur Smith seems to be on the right track. 7.5 this year, -120 to the over, +100 to the under. Still a dark horse for the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. They seem to be set on Ritter. They have a good draft pick. Seems like they should reinforce the line. I'm bullish on this team because they have tons of talent. Cordell Patterson's still on the team.
Yeah, tons of talent. I thought you were talking about Stadium Swim here for a second, Ryan. Get distracted from time to time looking around here.
I have to go over here mainly because I think of how I feel about the other teams in the division that we'll be talking about upcoming here. But yeah, I'm gonna go over on the Falcons. I think they're on the right path. I think they kind of have an idea of what they want to be, and the division sucks.
I'm on the under of the Falcons. I haven't seen the.
You know what? Switch my Bucs to the under. I just for balance, and I think they do have a problem with the amount of money they can actually spend on players this year.
I think Atlanta. To me, Ritter is the guy. Still a ton of questions about Arthur Smith as a head coach. Kyle Pitts still sucks. I'm just not, and I don't think their defense is that intimidating. I'm on the under in Atlanta, especially with 7.5.
All right, next up, staying in that division, the Carolina Panthers. They were 7-10 last year with not much working at the quarterback position. 7.5 this year, -120 on the over, 100 on the under. This team's only averaged 5.7 wins over the last 3 years, and now they're going to have a rookie. I wonder, I really am concerned and wonder how people are considering this the team. I know the division's weak. It's a reason I have to take an over on one of these teams. For me, it's going to be Atlanta. I'm on under here pretty clearly. Frank Reich really has gone because of the situation, how he got fired. He seems to be given a pass for all the old quarterbacks he rolled with in Indy, and now he's going to have a young guy. I just don't think it happens right away. And so this is a pretty nice.
They seem pretty far off, and like the team they had before. And maybe they're able to run the ball with Miles Sanders. I still think for them as well, a ton of questions on the defensive side. And
Atlanta versus Carolina, straight up. Like, how do you take Carolina? Atlanta has a floor. Like,
I mean, Bryce Young could be a real project. Like, there's a lot of these. Any of these rookie quarterback situations. Stroud seems like the set lock there, but. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't take the Panthers. Under on the Panthers for sure.
All right, Chicago Bears. They were 3-14 as I predicted last year. 7.5 this year, -120 to the over, 100 to the under. I mean, again, we saw it last year. The team that spent the most, aka the Jags, they drastically improved their year-to-year wins. They made the playoffs. They were a great story. I don't know if I can put this Bears team into that same boat. The Jags were what was the Jags win total? It might have even been similar. I feel like it might have been a tick lower. We won't be talking about any whole win totals here, by the way. But for the Bears, like, I understand the appeal of Justin Fields in fantasy. I think part of the fantasy appeal comes with an understanding the defense is still not studly. I mean, they invested heavily in the inside linebacker position. I mean, I thought Ryan Poles was some sort of analytics sharp. He's investing in strange positions, aka the running back and the interior linebacking core. I don't want to sound like a hater, but I was fully prepared to be bullish on this team, but I might have to be bearish on the Bears. Take the under again.
Yeah, I'm going over here. Again, I've been higher than most on the Bears. I think Justin Fields could take a big jump, and that again,
I do like DJ. You know what? Give me the over.
DJ Moore. They're bringing him some weapons. I'll say that. I know Paulie's excited for Bears football. They also have a ton of picks. So here's how I see it. I do think Justin Fields is going to take a leap. I do think they're going to have so many high draft picks. They have to get some sort of impact from them. Throw in DJ Moore. I still think they have a really good running game. Even if the defense just gets a little bit better by bringing in. I mean, the linebacker they brought in from the Eagles, I thought was a decent pickup. So I'm taking the over here at 7.5. And the division, assuming Aaron Rodgers isn't there. Again, I'm not locked in on the the Detroit Lions being amazing. So
I am mildly interested in fading the rest of the division. So I guess for that reason, I have to take the over here. It is a bit. It does feel steep though. Packers 8-9 last year. Aaron Rodgers probably gone. 7.5 is the total. Plus 120 to the over. Minus 150 to the under. This is interesting because it probably is lower if we know it's Jordan.
Yeah.
And
again,
I don't really know how you play it with the juice. I think if anything, I wait for Jordan Love to be the guy. Wait for the Packers to adjust to the lowest win total in the division.
Yeah,
and I maybe look at the over there because I do think
I like the idea of the team rallying around a guy that isn't Aaron Rodgers.
Hard pivot to a run first team.
He's in a darkness retreat. We don't care. Yeah. We got a lot of talent in this locker room. We're gonna rally around our quarterback. We're gonna carry ourselves to 9 wins. 8 wins, but then that guy they're rallying around is Jordan Love, who just to me, I haven't seen anything out of Jordan Love that is close to a dog.
Neither has to have the people that practice.
So again, I'm going under 7.5.
Yeah, I think you have to because it sounds like Aaron Rodgers isn't playing for this team, whether he doesn't get traded or not. Yes. All right, Vegas Raiders 6-11 last year. 7.5 is the win total. Plus 120 to the over. Minus 150 to the under. Jimmy G is the ultimate floor quarterback.
Is he though? I would say. I think the Raiders. And again, at minus 150, I'm not touching it. But
is Adams still on the team?
Devontae Adams is still on the team.
Josh Jacobs
still on the. Yeah,
I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit.
I think there's a chance the Raiders could be like one of the worst teams next year. This is me being out on Josh McDaniels, and we've seen Jimmy G succeed when he's in the Kyle Shanahan system. And even in that, like, I don't know, the magic seemed to be a little gone. He's coming back from a really serious, pretty serious, what was it? Shoulder injury, right?
Yeah, I mean, and not being given the playbook injury.
Yes,
that was the other injury he was out with.
So again, if Kyle Shanahan, the guy who figured out how to win games with him, I'm out on Josh McDaniels. I mean, they were 6-11, and that included that crazy win against the Patriots, which they had no business winning that game. I don't know if you remember that, like, crazy lateral back. The receiver threw it back. Mac Jones got lit up. So that they were 6-11 with that.
Yeah, you know what? Give me under.
And as much as we make fun of Derek Carr,
gotta eat the juice.
I think he might be better than Jimmy G.
He's probably more willing to take a risk, which is pretty crazy to say out loud. Los Angeles, the Rams, 5-12 last year. Seems like it's not a 1-year tank. 7.5 is the win total. I don't know how to read this situation because I on one hand, if Stafford plays all year, it is hard to see them not winning 8 games, but they are very shallow at the top.
Yeah.
They're another team with tons of dead. I mean, they mortgaged their future. They don't have a ton of draft picks.
Don't have Ramsey anymore.
They won their Super Bowl. So I think they're still in a bit of a lull. I don't know if you want to take over here. So I got to default to the under.
Yeah, this team, again, I think we're going to have more clarity on them during the summer.
Clearly, I mean, at best, the 3rd best team in the division.
Yeah, I wasn't high on the Rams last year. Not super high on them this year.
Hot as shit.
I guess if everyone's healthy, you are wearing a suit coat at a pool ride.
Oh, it's Masters Week.
I know. I got the jackets all the way from Karachi, Pakistan. Got there just in time.
Oh,
I'm on the under on the Rams, but again, we'll see what they tried out in the summer. Might be changing my opinion on this. I still think there's a chance Aaron Donald retires or Matt Stafford retires. Like if they get banged up at the preseason,
if McVay's podcast gets picked up, he might choose to go full time. All right, Pats 7.5 is the win total. Minus 120 to the over, 100 to the under. I mean, what do we do with this Patriots? I
mean, they're trying to
Mac Jones.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
It's funny because even last year when they were kind of a disaster, they still were 8-9, and that was without. That was with who did they have as their offensive coordinator? The idiot from Detroit,
the rocket scientist, Matt Patricia.
Yes,
with Joe Judge helping.
So they've seemingly fixed that a little bit. We'll see where it goes from there. I do think there is a floor with Belichick, at least like being a solid coach, but the GM Belichick is just a complete and utter disaster.
Do they get Lamar? Meek Mill told Robert Kraft they should get him.
Could you ever see Belichick giving anyone that much guaranteed money?
Have you ever heard Robert Kraft talk about player personnel moves in the public through the media?
No, I get he's trying to pressure him, maybe.
That's on Bill. Holy shit! All right, so if Lamar goes here, what's their win total? 9.5.
Yeah, probably.
And if it's McCorkle, 6.5.
Well, it's at 7.5. I don't think they're pricing in Lamar at all.
Too high under.
Yeah.
4th best team in the division.
I'm going to go over for now.
Belichick's done, dude.
I get it. But I think the fact that they have a real offensive coordinator, to me, that's going to give them a little bump. And they lost that Raiders game. I feel like that's good for a game swing just off that.
I don't know. I think there's an old saying, Sean. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterback. And this whole Zappy McCorkle thing is going to be a problem. That's my prediction.
Zappy's going to ball out, Ryan. Hey, you know what's not a problem? Not getting an erection. Thanks to Sword Vitality. That's right, Sword Vitality. Again, if your sword's a little soft, you're looking to unsheath your sword. Maybe you're here in Las Vegas, hanging out in Stadium Swim. Want to go upstairs, take a little extracurricular activities. 40% of men are affected by impotence by age 40. Nearly 70% of men by the age of 70. Again, nothing to be ashamed of. It's time to unsheath your sword with Sword Vitality. You can feel free to talk about it. Look at me. I'm happy to talk about Sword Vitality. I'm screaming about Sword Vitality here at the Cabana. Again, you can increase blood flows. That will help you thrive as a man in the bedroom. Sword Vitality can even increase your stamina. Just go to swordvitality.com, promo code SGPN, get a nice discount at checkout. Swordvitality.com, promo code SGPN.
Titans, they were 7-10 last year. A bit of a dip for them. 30 wins over the past 3 seasons. This year it's 7.5 plus 105 on the over, minus 125 to the under. Sounds like they're hot and heavy for a quarterback. They come up and get a quarterback. I don't know how you can be high on them this next year. I do wonder what a backfield of Anthony Richardson and Derrick Henry might look like. say fuck it, we're just not going to pass the ball. Hey,
well, but
Treylon, just block.
do they keep Malik Willis so you could run like a wing T, have 3 running backs?
Have him be
But Ryan, do they trade Derrick Henry? There's so many unknowns with this team. The one thing we do know, their coach, man. Like again, if there's any, I love him as a coach. He really puts it on the line.
Yeah, literally talked about like sword vitality for him was using
taking out a sword and being willing to chop his own dick off to get the Super Bowl win. Again, Vrabel wins with bad teams. I think this is actually a decent. I'm out on Tannehill, but I do think Tennessee could get frisky in a division that everyone is just giving to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Vrabel doesn't put out dog shit teams. He just doesn't. Give me the Titans over 7.5.
I mean, especially because this is the 3rd team we've already talked about in this division. So the idea that we're not going to see them flirt with to me, the Titans are an in the mix team. Week 16, week 17, week 18, they're going to be in the hunt for the playoffs. I'll lean over again. If they take a rookie quarterback, it might have to flip for me, but I'll lean over. All right, next up.
Yeah, it still feels like they're in win now mode. We'll see what happens in the draft.
Found someone earlier at Stadium Swim that had a Commanders shirt on, so he must know what a Commander is.
It was a throwback Commanders jersey to the beginning of last year.
8-1 last year.
It's a good line.
It's a great line. 7.5 is the win total this year. Plus 120 to the over, minus 150 to the under. I mean, they went 8-1 last year with a relatively difficult. I mean, they lost the game and they tied against the Giants. They still went 8-1. I think they upgraded their offense with Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah,
I do tend to kind of believe in Sam Howell. You hear what the receivers are saying about him. He has the talent around him. They have running back.
I'm out on Ron Rivera.
No, dude, but you can't. They beat this last year with Carson, with a shit team.
True. They did have Carson Wentz.
What were their Taylor Heineke? I mean,
yeah. I guess if you're putting in Howell in there and you're getting plus juice on
they might get Lamar.
Yeah, all right. I'll take Washington
and
over.
They're gonna get the bump because Dan Snyder won't be the owner.
Yeah, you're right. You can't underestimate
the good guy tax.
Underestimate what if Bezos comes in, all of a sudden they don't have rats in their locker room or whatever their issues
were.
were.
Magic's involved, so things are gonna be.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some inside shit going on. I mean, didn't the Dodgers win shortly after he bought the team? Magic, guy's gotten through some things before. He knows how to talk to God directly. I'm on the over here very clearly.
Mood up in the chat saying we have a fan in the pool.
No way.
I don't know. I'm sure there's someone behind us doing something.
Oh, nice.
Adding the Stadium Swim to the backdrop of the live podcast is certainly awesome.
Yeah, and keeps us on point with this nice rhythmic bass going on.
Well, speaking of rhythmic, always fresh, never soggy. Had a great line for sword vitality. When your 6-iron is playing like a 9-iron, grab some sword vitality. Love it. Timely.
Yeah, I think the weather at the Masters is going to be doing that. So maybe a lot of sword vitality overnight. I bet you Dustin Johnson likes to crush his sword vitality up.
Oh man, he might
in the ass.
He might be doing some key bumps of sword vitality. TJ
gets the.
I love how he had to take a break because he was doing too much cocaine and having too much sex with other players' wives. Like, what are you talking?
Was it? Oh,
that is a disgusting act.
He's at the cabin getting crushed up sword vitality jammed in his ass by a hooker. Baltimore Ravens 10-7 last year. Obviously, we all know what's going on with Lamar Gate. 8.5 is the total. Minus 125 to the over, 105 to the under.
Well, either way, they're gonna have a Pro Bowl quarterback, either Lamar or Tyler Huntley.
Sean, I spur of the moment thing, but we need to have someone on the team Photoshop. If you didn't see DaCosta and Harbaugh sitting at the press conference talking about how they now have to look at quarterback in the draft. Well, they're both wearing plaid suits. We need a Dumb and Dumber Photoshop somewhere.
Oh, yes.
I mean, like, I don't really want to be the person that says the Ravens are handling this poorly, but the Ravens are handling this really poorly.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar's not helping him out
He needs
or
an
doing
agent.
himself any favors by having an agent. But Baltimore's not making this go away either.
Now, I mean, you have to take the under.
Do you? I guess
because Tyler
you do.
Huntley generally sucks. He had a couple moments, but he generally sucks. And I know he doesn't fumble the ball. Maybe they win a playoff game against the Bengals, but he generally sucks. He has had moments against certain teams, generally sucks.
Yeah, you're right. I do like Harbaugh as a coach still, and they to me are like in Titans territory where even if they don't have the roster, they still have like a good overall franchise. But they've not done a great job drafting lately.
First team we're talking about from this division.
And that's the other thing. The division's going to be super, super competitive. So yeah, give me the under 8.5.
I think if Lamar's not on the team, I think we probably are not calculating enough into how valuable he is.
Yeah.
Broncos, not to mention they're switching offenses. Don't undersell what that is. They were running the same system for a while with Greg Roman. All right, Broncos 5-12. We all studied it. Nathaniel Hackett sucks. Russ is cooked. This year it's 8.5, -110 each way. They were not a regression team. So you're telling me Sean Payton's worth 3 wins?
No.
Samaje Perine worth 3 wins?
No way. They were really bad. I know it's easy to say it was just Nathaniel Hackett, but Russell Wilson fucking sucked last season. He looked horrible, and the pieces around him looked horrible. And there's still a massive cancer in that locker room known as Russell Danger Russ.
Confirmed. Multiple stories from everything, any angle. Russ is a bona fide weirdo.
Even if Sean Payton is the chemotherapy to take out the cancer, it's not going to be a quick transition. It's going to take a while to fix things in Denver. I think they're a pretty messed up team. So I'm on under 8.5.
Me
and
too.
again, especially in that division.
By the way, did you see the picture of Sean Payton at the coach's picture? He's like sitting up like he's at a beauty pageant or something, making sure he's sticking his chest out.
Why would he come back to coach Russell Wilson?
Money. He
I
got
get
a
it,
fat
but
fucking
a lot of guys would have paid him.
He likes weed. It's legal there. All right, Vikings 13-4 last year. Of course, everyone knows about the regression. Win total all the way down to 8.5, -130 on the over, +110 on the under. On one side, it does feel like their floor is pretty high with Kirk Cousins. On the other side, it feels like their ceiling is pretty low with Kirk Cousins. But isn't the Kirk Cousins window like 7 to 10 wins?
You like that?
I get it. They weren't a 13-win team last year, but they weren't a 6-win team.
No, and again, I guess it kind of it depends on what you think of the division. Jeez.
They have Hawkinson and Justin. At minimum, they're going to be in shootouts. If they have a bad defense, we probably should be ranking their players in fantasy a little higher than we are.
Well, that's
Sean.
the other thing. They can regress 4 games and still hit this over. So I'm going to take the over because again, they did win 13 games.
I know we hate on them, but it was a new coach. There is a possibility, much like Brian Dable in New York,
momentum.
There is culture happening in Minnesota. And again, I don't mind just generally kind of having some fade angles in the division. Obviously we discussed this earlier with the Bears and Packers, but yeah, I think the Vikings could definitely plummet, but as long as Kirk Cousins is healthy, I think worst case 7 wins. So I gotta go over here. Giants 9-7-1 last year, of course, made the playoffs. Dan Jones playoff victory. Then they got ousted, unfortunately. 8.5 this year.
What happened there?
Oh, they just ran into a better team, better roster. 8.5. What is the total? 105 for the over,
baby.
-125 to the under. Certainly a team that you are going to point out. They had some elements happened to see regression coming in terms of their win total.
Regression is coming,
but they are also have very clearly improved their roster. I mean, again, they were winning games at the end of the season with Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James. They've upgraded the talent. We see what the coaching staff can do. Wink, Kafka, Dable, the boys, they're all back. So I don't see how in a second year of a system you're going to expect them to take a step back. Now you could argue they don't take a step back but they take a step back in the win-loss column because of that regression.
I don't think they're going to be a team that bottoms out, but I think 8-9 is their ceiling with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. I don't think that just I don't think the receiver quote unquote upgrade that they had is enough to swing them. I don't know of anyone they got that's really going to impact their win total. Yeah, I'm on the under here at 8.5. I think they're going to struggle to compete in the division. Last year they were what 1-5-1. 1-5-1 in the division. I still think they're going to struggle.
You're going to get in that fender bender, staring in the rear view. I just think it's impossible to ignore the trajectory this team is on and the roster improvements. They had like replacement level talent all over this roster, and that is being addressed. So even if it's not a big step, they go over here, and I get plus juice. Yes, please. Steelers 9-8 last year. It's Tomlin. He just wins 9 games. I think that's how it works. 8.5 this year. -120 on the over. 100 on the over under. What are we? There's nothing to talk about. Why?
No,
why would they
always over on the Steelers? And
unless TJ Watt is out for the year.
Yeah, and even then last year did they not hit their over, or they were really close. If TJ Watt gets injured, obviously the team is completely different. But TJ Watt is healthy. I think they're bringing back Kenny Pickett in the second year. Like it sounds crazy, but Kenny Pickett had some flashes where he looked pretty good. Now he did have the interceptions, but you know, he's coming off his rookie year. You would expect that to go down. You would expect some of that to regress. And I think Pittsburgh's in a pretty good position. Again, Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons, 9-8. And they were 8.5 last year. Like even that season where they had questions at quarterback, who's going to be the starter. They had Mitch Trubisky. They had the TJ Watt injury. It was kind of a worst case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. They still hit their over 8.5.
And, you know, if you look at some of the advanced numbers, Pickett pretty good down the stretch. So perhaps he takes a step forward.
Yeah.
Unfortunate Canada's still there, but you got to take the over. Seahawks 9-8 last year. 8.5 is the total. -105 on the over. -115 on the under. All right, Seahawks. They're to me a team more likely to take that step back because we saw what they looked like in the second half of the year.
Yes.
And I don't care. I understand that Gino. He got paid. He wrote an article in the Players Tribune about how this isn't a farewell.
Wrote back. That's what they said.
He wrote back, but I mean, it was about this is the beginning of something. All right, sure, but there's a pretty good chance the Seahawks come away with a quarterback in the draft. There is a pretty good chance. You know what? They're a lot like the Vikings to me. I think Carroll clearly has the defense rebuild happening, and the offense has a certain floor because of what clearly Kenneth Walker can bring and those receivers. And when I look around the division, I don't know. This is one where I don't really believe in the Cardinals or the Rams, holistically as a division contender. I do think they're.
And maybe I'm going to go. I thought I was going to lean over here, I thought I was going to go under instinctively because I don't think Geno Smith is going to be as good as he was last year. But you made some great points there. You have.
I don't think he has to be.
You have Pete Carroll. I do think he's figuring some stuff out in that defense. I do think that division is wide open, especially with the questions at the quarterback position for the San Francisco 49ers. So
let's go.
I don't love Seattle as a team, but I think over 8.5, I think I would go over.
More than I think about it, though, the line, those were rookies. There's a lot of projected step forward on that team. All right, Browns. 7-10 last year. It's now 9.5 +115 to the over, -135 to the under. I'm unclear as to who's betting over here.
Not me. I mean, Deshaun Watson. I was listening to the show and they go, well, Deshaun Watson only played. What did he play? 6 games, and they were like 3 of those games were in really bad weather. So maybe you throw those games out. It's like. He plays in Cleveland. You can't throw out bad weather games.
I'm downgrading.
You know what the weather's going to be in December and January? It's going to be bad. It's fucking Cleveland.
I have my off-season notes here.
He looked really, really bad, and he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to put a ton of work in the off-season.
He lost for the Browns. Brissett.
Yeah.
They lost the quarterback.
5-6.
just fire and blanks over there.
Well, the soundboard with the sun glare, it is hard to track.
Give me some. Give me the.
That was the Deshaun Watson I was looking.
Do you want to play the UFC? Play the. We have. It's like an announcement. Play the.
What's your announcement, Ryan?
Oh, we're about to do the Dallas Cowboys. I know there's some people in the chat that are very excited for this.
Cereal.
Dallas 12-5 last year. 9.5 is the win total this year. Over -125, under +105. They are committing to running the ball more and letting Mike McCarthy have more control over the offense. That feels like worth 4 games, maybe 5.
They're gonna pound the rock because they're going
Where's
to
Zeke? No Zeke.
And Pollard's coming off a super serious injury. He was one of their more explosive players.
But they got Stephon Gilmore.
I think getting rid of Cooper definitely hurt them. I don't think CeeDee Lamb is a team that can carry this offense.
He's kind of a pussy.
Just everything that's happening in Dallas, and Dak, I think, kind of got exposed here towards the end of the season. Give me the under on the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I mean, and we don't even hate Rain Dakota Prescott as much as his owner. I mean, his owner just wants another quarterback.
He really does.
Dak is. You almost feel bad for the guy at this point. I don't think it's good for the energy of the locker room. I think his BFF Zeke being gone. I mean, you remember how close they were. Well, they got each other birthday presents on Hard Knocks. It was so cute. They won't have that segment this year.
Yeah, I do think he might be back. I think Zeke might end up re-signing with the Cowboys.
I don't think he's going to play football this year. Detroit. Anything else you want to add to the Cowboys?
No, Dallas sucks. Come on.
The Lions 9-8 last year. 9.5 is the total this year. -150 to the over, +120 to the under. The nerds out there will tell you this Detroit team. Boy, Dan Campbell's doing it right up there, slamming his double vente, red eyes, biting kneecaps, interviewing guys to see if they have it. John, you know what Sheep's been wearing a wolf's costume lately? Jared Goff this offseason. Now, granted, they could go out and shock the world and get Lamar or draft a quarterback. But Jared Goff in a position where he has to. There's an expectation. This is the top win total in the division, Sean. They're the favorite.
Detroit Lions as a favorite. Detroit Lions with pressure. It's one thing to succeed when you're the scrappy underdog, but to come in as the favorite and Jared Goff with like back-to-back good years. And what have they done on the defensive side to really upgrade it? I mean, they're looking to draft a cornerback in the first round, which is great, but that's rarely do rookie quarterbacks have a huge impact year one. I mean, maybe if you're Sauce Gardner, but generally it takes them a little bit to figure it out.
They have 2 picks. I mean, look, I understand why you want to be hyped on this team, but I don't think just because the rest of the division is down, it means the Lions have to be up. So I'm going to go under. I'm certainly going to fade the juice on this one. I think this number is going to keep going. I think the Lions will be a 10-win team in the win total.
And the last year, halfway through the season, the Lions were 2-6. So I think that 7-2 run they went on to close the season, I don't know if that's sustainable. I just don't.
I know if I was a fan of the team, I would be saying the offensive coordinator chose to stay. There's a lot of reasons you'd be excited there. They did lose.
I think they are interesting in fantasy.
Lost our assistant head coach, aka Deuce Staley. That matters. That guy's an all-time locker room hype guy. I watched Hard Knocks. I know. The Chargers of Los Angeles.
I just think the Lions are the team that's going to get a ton of hype and disappoint.
I do think we're gonna wait and bet the under on this because this is going north. Chargers 10-7 last year, 9.5 is the win total this year, -125 to the over, 105 to the under. They upgraded the offensive coordinator by getting rid of Joe Lombardi, bringing in Cowboys former OC what's his name?
Kellen Moore.
I was gonna say Kellen Clemens. It's the Chargers. I'm on the fucking over. Eckler's playing for a contract. Herbert only going to take another step forward. Can't not do it. I'm not super high on the Broncos or the Raiders. I do think it's a 2-horse race in this division, and I do think Herbert's one of the guys that can be the guy. So give me the over.
Yeah, I mean, again, they kind of had a disaster season, injuries, and
Well, that's every year for them.
yeah, and still get to 10-7. I think the floor is pretty safe with Justin Herbert. Not going to be playing them to win the Super Bowl because that's not something the Chargers do. And I do think that way
the playoffs.
The way they lost to the Jags was soul crushing. But again, I like them over 9.5.
All right, Dolphins at 9-8 last year, 9.5 this year, plus 100 to the over, minus 20 to the under. Tyreek Hill made news today saying he was going to retire after a 10-year career. Maybe, I don't know. I watched the guy play no craps. I have a feeling he's going to play as long as he can play. Miami, boy, I mean, this team, I know it's Tua, but this team is certainly loaded.
Yeah, and
second year in a system that was working.
Yeah, I was super skeptical of it. Obviously, Tua, medical risk. I mean, one more concussion, he's probably dead.
They need a backup because Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson were not
getting it done. But their defense, I think, still kind of competent. Again, I think the AFC is more wide open than people might think. I'm going to take the over here at 9.5. They feel like a 10-win team.
Yeah, the world where Sean takes an over on Tua at 9.5. Here we go. Saints, what? 7-10 last year, 9.5. What the fuck? 105 on the over, minus 125 to the under. What? This is a horrible. What is this? What is this based on? They're
I think
Kamara being suspended for the entire year.
I think it's just Derek Carr is going to be such a big upgrade from Andy Dalton and Jameis, but I don't know that he is.
This is horrible.
I
100% Saints do not win the division.
Do you believe in Dennis Allen as a guy that can get you
under
10 wins?
Smash.
I love the under right now.
Smash under might be the lock of the show. Jets.
This might be
the Saints. The Saints have been mortgaging the future for so long too. Like this, and Derek Carr gets paid.
No, Michael Thomas. Who knows what the hell happened?
I mean, I like Olave. Yeah, that's it.
They have a couple of interesting fantasies.
Buffalo or the Jets 7-10 last year, 9-5 this year, minus 130 to the over, 110 to the under. Part of the reason I like why are the Dolphins and the Jets at the same point?
Because Aaron Rodgers is going to come. They're going to be really good.
Horrible. I get
the Jets do have some talent, but I just don't think. Well, one, right now, who's their starting quarterback? We don't know. Even if you put Aaron Rodgers on that team, are they immediately a 10-win team?
No, Nathaniel Hackett's on. Yeah. Why is no one discussing this? Aaron Rodgers wants to play with the worst coach in the league. Why? Why does he want to do that? Because he's a pushover.
He was 8-9 last year with the Packers. Is this Jets team that much better than the Packers team?
Probably, but still.
I don't know.
They have a good defense. They have talent. I understand it. I'm
still skeptical.
It's the Jets, and the Jets will find a way to jet. The Buffalo Bills 3-13 last year, 10-5, minus 140 to the over, 15 to the under. I mean, it's Josh Allen. If I'm looking at division markets, I'm definitely intrigued by Miami in the division market.
I love the Bills here at 10.5.
But I mean,
again, their struggles come when they get to the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're a regular season machine.
They do have the
great
NFC
home
East.
field. I love the Bills over 10.5.
I agree. Like I said, I
way too low.
I tend to like I'm looking at Miami in the division
Even
market.
with 6 losses for the Bills, they hit this. They just don't lose a bunch at home in the regular season. Now playoffs, or it gets a little cold, make it a little snow.
They've averaged.
They're the only dome team from upstate New York. They play like a dome team.
They've averaged over 12 wins last 3 years. This almost feels like when they dipped that total for Aaron Rodgers and peak Packers under 11.
Like people are disappointed because they don't do anything in the playoffs, and I think that's factoring into the regular season win total.
All right, next up, Jags. What the fuck, Jags? 9-8 last year, 10.5 this year, plus 115 over, minus 140 under. Whoa!
Come on, Jags.
Relax.
This is like the AFC version of the Detroit Lions. I get it. They ended strong. I see why you would be impressed. But let's not forget, Trevor Lawrence did throw 4 interceptions in that first half. There's a lot of flaws to this Jags game. And Now you get it could almost be a letdown year. You got Doug P smelling himself like you did after 2017 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now they're going down to Jacksonville. Oh yeah, we're gonna steamroll the regular season. Now you're playing a first place schedule. Going to be much tougher for them. Everyone's going to be gunning for them. I like the under 10.5 on the Jags.
And I think furthermore, when the Football Outsiders did some data, or had a table on like free agent spending year one, obviously discussed the positive nature of how it kind of, if you spend the most, you're going to improve your team's win total. Well, in that third or the year plus two, it's not necessarily the same effect. So I know they're getting Calvin Ridley. I know there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, but
they already have a bunch of mouths to feed already.
I'm not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I understand the division thing. So this would be a sweaty one, but I'm definitely not taking the over.
I'm with you.
Eagles 14-3 last year. 10.5 is the total this year. -150 to the over, +120 to the under. We don't know what kind of coach Nick Sirianni will be without the help of the assistants Shane Steichen and Matt Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon.
Steichen. What did I say?
I don't know what you said.
Matt Gannon.
There
you go.
The guy who works for us. I'm going over, obviously, on the Eagles. Jalen Hurts isn't a guy.
Even with that juice?
Jalen Hurts isn't a guy that's going to lose games in general. Very good as a starter. Only lost 2 games as a starter last year. One was an epic game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I like their schedule this year. I think they have. I mean, again, they have 2 first-round picks. They were able to retain their cornerbacks. I think you have Jonathan Davis in the second year taking a jump on the defensive line. I think both the offensive and defensive line are going to be very good next year.
Is he working out? Keeping the weight down?
Jonathan, he was fine. Like, they were happy with his progress. I think he's going to have a nice leap year in year 2. Again, he couldn't get a lot of playing time because Hargrave was ahead of him, was playing better. And in general, that defensive line was pretty good. And there was a lot of, the games they lost were, I think a lot of it was Jonathan Gannon. So I'm glad they got rid of him. Give me the over 10.5 here.
Yeah, I think the play is probably to the over. And I'm sure the odds for the division point out that the Eagles are just going to walk to the division.
Yep.
I'm expecting a 16-1 prediction from Tom Green on the Eagles preview next year. What could possibly go wrong? Still top 5 in dead money.
Oh, come on. You're talking to
still
top 5 in dead money.
Still haven't seen.
Who cares? Do you see their roster?
Again, like I said, I'm on the over. They seem like a clear number 1 team in the NFC. Cincinnati Bengals 12-4, 11.5 is the total. -105 on the over.
Why was it so? They were so low last year. It was like 9.5 last year.
They seem to start slow and figure it out. 12-4 last year felt.
They
didn't play a game obviously in there, so very well could have been 13-4 or 12-5. I will say this feels high. This feels high for a team that they tend to have some hangover in the beginning of the year. I do think there's going to start to be some, who's getting paid stuff going on.
Yeah, and T. Higgins,
notoriously cheap franchise.
T. Higgins still looking for a new deal. I'm with you. I'm taking the under. I think you kind of wait and see how they start and maybe jump in mid-season with them because I like them as a team, and obviously you don't want to fade Joe Burrow. But again, to your point, 12-5 to run it back could be tough. So I'm going under here.
They're like the ultimate team.
This isn't one I'm like hammering to play right now.
They're the ultimate team that like gets ratcheted up as the playoffs get closer. So I would say I definitely lean the under here. I would even maybe I don't think this is going any higher. All right, next up, Chiefs 14-3, and yet here we are again, another year, another 11.5 for the Chiefs. Over. They're not. 12-5 is the floor for Patrick.
Yeah, I'm tired of losing money with Patrick Mahomes. Give me the over 11.5. I mean, right now in that division, there's still a chance they get like a big piece at receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, something like that. So yeah, give me the over on the Chiefs at 11.5.
Or Odell, he could go there. Yeah, look.
I said like guys that might have an impact on the field.
Oh, Odell would have an impact on the Chiefs. You know it. If Kadarius Toney can have an impact in 6 snaps. Yeah, and we've confirmed the water in Kansas City does cure hangovers. All right, last team. Wow, Niners 13-4 last year, 11.5 plus 110 on the over, 130 to the under. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, Sean.
Yeah.
How can you possibly take over here? I know the argument they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
last year.
The counter is they won 8 games with Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy blew out his arm.
They hate Trey Lance.
I mean, Sam Darnold. Put it this way: this is why you should be under on the 49ers. They brought in Sam Darnold to compete for the job with Trey Lance. That's what their quarterback situation looks like right now. I know their division is kind of soft, but you can't take the over at 11.5. That's too high.
Yeah.
They told you by signing Sam Darnold, and this isn't like a late season camp arm. This is because they know Brock Purdy's completely destroyed his arm, and it's going to be Darnold and Trey Lance going again. They're out on Trey Lance. They can't
Breaking
trade
news.
him. Yeah.
Honestly, as we broke this down, it does make me. I'm intrigued to look at some of the division markets. Like there are some divisions that have like quote clear leaders that I don't know, not so fast. Maybe I'm looking to fade the Jags and the Niners this year in the division markets. Potentially the Eagles as well. All right.
At your own peril, Ryan.
I'm just kidding. They're going to be the best team in the league. 1 seed. Let's run it back.
All right. Do you have any? Should we give out a couple locks here for our favorite?
Steelers over lock.
It's so easy, but I'm with you.
The free square.
I love the Pits.
The free square
At 8.5. All right.
Saints under 9.5 lock.
Damn it, you're taking all mine.
Oh, we can agree. These are show locks.
One more, Ryan.
You want another lock?
I'm also on New Orleans under 9.5.
I mean, I would say happy. You know what? Let's add. There's no way.
I mean, I do like Buffalo at 10.5. I mean, Josh Allen will win 11 games.
That's
it's
pretty
chalky
good.
as hell, but I'm going Buffalo over 10.5.
You know what? Give me the Dolphins over 9.5.
All right. So you got Steelers, Saints, Dolphins over on the Steelers, under on the Saints, over on the Dolphins. I'm with you on the Saints and the Steelers, and I'm going over on my boy Josh Allen getting over 10.5 wins. Hey, it's a lot of fun. Again, big thanks to Circa Las Vegas and Stadium Swim for providing a great backdrop here to these live podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow doing our Masters update, and then we're also doing that special Zed Run show with Bowser. You're going to be racing our digital horses late night, so stay tuned for that. Looking to kick that off at 8:00 Pacific, and I think we'll do what time are we thinking for the Masters update show? 3:00, Kramer?
Yeah, we'll say 3.
3-ish. We'll see. We're on command of time. A lot of ins, a lot of outs.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
We forgot to fade Jared Goff.
Oh, I faded him.
I'm gonna add that to the locks.
Okay, add it to the lock. Detroit under 9.5. Kramer, let it ride.